a meteorologist.
I'm telling you, we have to have Dr. Brule on the show.
In character.
Oh, fully in character. And we have to run it straight face. We have to do it live on the air too. I think that would just be a phenomenal way.
Well, we've got a few more weeks till April 1st.
Oh, yes, April 1st is a show day, isn't it?
It is.
If anyone knows how to get us in, like, I don't even know that he'd want to, but oh my God, that would be so much fun.
Why would he not?
What do you mean, why would he not?
Why would he not want to?
I don't know.
It seems like that would be a thing that would be stopped by publicists and handlers, not...
Yeah, but I feel like they're the gatekeepers, right? They're the ones who...
Yeah.
Anyhow.
They ultimately choose how they're going to work.
So as we wait for Ryan to come back, Ryan is in a giant storm, and he likes doing graphics for whatever reason. Thanks.
A hurricane of emotions.
Oh, hang on. You know, I will say that, we'll do rehearsals for rocket launches and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
And you're rehearsing with just like dummy video feeds.
Yeah.
But sometimes the wind at Cape Canaveral is really strong, so the microphone is just picking up, and it actually breaks up like that, exactly like that, right? So,
nice.
And so we'll simulate like 3, 2, 1, lift off, and nothing's going on. But then the audio engineer will bring up these microphones and go, and it can legitimately sound. You're like, wow. Well done.
Here it goes.
Right? And then they'll pull it back down, like as the rocket
gets farther away.
And you're like, yeah, all right, yeah, it's kind of.
Oh, you clever little audio worker.
Look at you.
Clever
Look at you.
girl.
Look at you go.
Look at you figure with your sound and everything.
So, we had like we were off this last Friday mostly because I was in Starbase for reasons I can't imagine why.
Yeah, I can't imagine why either.
What was going on around then? And all right. So my fun story is from Starbase. Obviously I can't talk about much of it, but I did tweet out. If you watch the presentation, there was a point where the PowerPoint deck went. Right? Can you make the Windows noise? I don't even know that you can. And bonk. Bonk. And that was me. That wasn't my team. That was literally me. I screwed up, and the engineer in me cannot let that fly, right? So first off, the engineer in me planned for this, and you'll note like issue, resolution, rapid.
It was a fast recovery.
Yeah, that was glorious to watch.
Right? Like you could see, like I was like, uh-oh, and we fixed it real fast because like I prepare for these scenarios. Now, maybe not that exact scenario because I don't know exactly what's going to happen, but I was ready for it. And I wasn't ready for me to be the issue, but okay, whatever.
Problem exists between keyboard and chair.
There's the first time for everything.
I know. So, but then also, like, it was literally. So I was slightly off nominal in my configuration due to like how I needed it to be, and so I needed. Like now moving forward, I've realized like I need to actually adjust the ergonomics of how all of this goes together. So like you will never see this issue again. This specific issue will never happen again. But yeah, that was me. But then I have a fun tradition. So back in whenever we unveiled Dragon, the Crew Dragon, we called it Dragon V2 at that time. We don't call it that anymore. But Crew Dragon, when we unveiled that for the very first time, it had the screen. Elon hit the thing. It was like, ooh, Dragon. This is back in Hawthorne, right?
Yeah, 2014.
Was that? Oh
yeah.
My God, was it 2014?
Yeah, it was before I was even on the show.
Wow. So I was running that event, and this is when I started this particular tradition. For that particular event, I was working crazy hours. It was like 20 hours on, 4 hours off, 20 hours on, 4 hours off. And I worked and then we did the event. And when we were done with the event, I gave myself bronchial pneumonia. Like my body was just so worn down, I couldn't do anything.
I remember that.
Me too.
Is that when you accidentally?
So he knows where this is going. So
Oh my gosh.
So let me explain. They don't know what's going on yet, Jared. So what?
I love this one. This one's great.
So it's still not scrolling. So I need this keyboard to keep this screen scrolling. So what happened was I can't sit idle, right?
What happened was
I can't sit idle, and so here I am. I'm sick. I'm at home. I'm on the couch, but like I can't do that. I'm not built like that. I always have to be doing something. We have a limited number of hours in this life. I got to be doing something. And so I would log into my computer and I'd check stuff. And, this is what year is it? 2014?
Yeah.
So Tesla had the Model S, and I think they were only shipping the Model S at that point. This is before the 3, before the X, before all of it. And I think they had discontinued the Roadster. So this was the only car. And, I dreamed of having my Tesla. It was a really cool car. I wanted an all-electric vehicle. And so for, a year or two, probably you go in, you configure it because they're constantly changing their configurations and whatnot. So I was doing that under the influence of crazy medication to keep me, and they had reduced the price. They're like, hey, your deposit is, instead of $10,000, it's $500 or whatever the case was. They're like, oh, that's not bad. I can do that. Buy now. Close the laptop. Back to sleep. So this is how I bought my first Model S. And so I slept for a while, and then I woke up, and Carrie Ann's at work. And I open my email because, again, can't stay still. And email from Tesla. It says, congratulations on your car. We'll be reaching out to you to arrange delivery. And I went, uh-oh. What have I done? And so I have made a tradition of doing these huge events. So then there was another event where I bought a 4K TV OLED or something like that. There was another event where I want to say, was it our house? I don't know. But these huge purchases.
I bought an actual bar of gold, and then
one year I bought
a bar
these.
of gold would be cheap. Bar of gold would be cheap compared to these. I trust you. I tell you.
Right. Yeah, you're not wrong. So after this event, now to be fair, I have not that was me being stupid. SpaceX didn't request that I work all those hours. That was just me being an idiot, not knowing what I was doing. So I haven't done that since. But buys a drag. Adam said, "Hold up." Sorry, the interface isn't auto scrolling for us, so I have to keep buys a dragon. So, so for this one,
yeah, you're not far off.
I literally, so we did the event. That was on Thursday. And then on Friday, I'm back in my hotel. There was a period where the pad was closed, and so I couldn't do much. And so I collapsed. I was in my hotel room. I was exhausted. I'm on my phone.
I just passed out.
Well, yeah.
I just hit the ground
They're
so
stressful.
hard.
These events are stressful.
I'm slightly concussed, but I think I'm okay.
So I'm in my hotel room. I'm on my phone. And, Tesla has announced these new models of the S and the X. And so I'm on the website configuring it. And they're like, hey, your deposit's $250. And I thought to myself, why not? But I didn't do it. And then Tim Dodd was down at Starbase, and so I met up with him for lunch or something like that. And I was like, hey, I was thinking of getting Tesla. He's like, you should do it. I'm like, okay. And I hit click. And so in the grand tradition of me doing these big, huge events, I purchased a Model X Plaid in white on white. I legitimately did this. So it'll be delivered in October. And so, yep, another major event and another major car.
You need to sell one because you don't have space to
There
park
are now. Oh, yeah, that's correct. So there are 3 Teslas between the two of us. I need to at least sell one of them, but
you
now
want
I
a
need
Jeep?
to sell
I'll
2
trade
of them.
you.
No. No. So there you go. That's my story. At least it will match the studio.
Your 3 needs front tires. Maybe you can get rid of that one and replace it with the X.
I'm excited. I'm really excited for this X though. Carrie Ann does not like the X. She thinks it looks like a minivan when the doors are closed. I'm not a huge fan of it with the doors closed. I don't think it's their best looking car when the doors are closed, but those Falcon Wing doors are amazing. They look so awesome. And the interior of the X, that cockpit where the glass goes over your head, phenomenal.
The S looks like a python, and the S looks like a python, and the X looks like a python that ate something.
Kind of. So anyhow, I'm at raffle one. This is great. Hold on. Raffle one on stream.
Did Carrie Ann just find out right now?
No.
Oh,
but she did find out after I did it. So again, holding to tradition, I ordered the car and then I told Carrie Ann. So yep, that's the thing. There you go. I just spent a whole lot of time talking about things that most people probably don't care about.
But it's still funny.
Yeah, I know.
It's still
right?
hilarious.
Grand tradition.
At 2020. So chat room now, start posting in comments for the 2023 update. What am I buying then? Is that a Cybertruck? What do I do? What do I buy after the 2023 update?
New Roadster.
Oh, that's a great. Actually, that was Carrie Ann's point. She was like, "Don't get the X. Like, you know, you want the Roadster. Just wait for the Roadster." And I'm like, I do want the Roadster. And actually, this is another. You're just. So Smoke Scale says minivans are just road-based shuttlecraft. Okay, yeah, that's
true.
Right. Actually, I got the white on the X because I think that's the best color combination with that one, and it does look like a spaceship.
Yeah.
Right? I think that's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Well,
And then
I was going to say, when I went up to the Eclipse, the person I was staying with in Oregon, we were using a Model X to get around, and man, it really did feel like a spaceship in it.
It's so
and it was
cool.
great because I always sat in the back, and I usually don't do that in cars, but I always sat in the back just because of the Falcon doors, because I just love pushing it and then watching it open and everyone around stopping and looking.
Which seat configuration was it?
It was the 222, I think.
Yeah, so
something like
the
that.
six-seater. Yeah, that is the only seat configuration I can get in this car because I did get the plaid option because
just plaid option
because that's what I do.
No bag.
Well, and then someone had said, and I put it up on the screen, Musa said the Tesla Semi, and that is actually something like I want to create a mobile control room for those events. And we'd found an RV that was black, and I was going to call it because Tesla has they've got ludicrous mode and plaid, so we were going to call it Spaceball 1. And there were going to be 3 doors. One door was going to be dark helmet. The other one was going to be Princess Vespa, and the third one was going to be I don't remember what the third one was. It might have been Lone Star, but like, yeah. And then that was going to be my mobile control room, and then I can't have it now, so I don't know what I'm going to do. And yeah, there you go.
But you got an X and it's plaid. So.
I got an X and it's plaid, and that was all loosely related to space. 10 minutes into this show, and people are like, "Why? What is going on?" Most of them have tuned out. I apologize. So my name is Jamie Higginbotham. I am joined by Ryan Caton and Jared Head. Now, from this point forward, because I do work at Company X, and I do not represent them, this show has nothing to do with them. My opinions are my own, but I also can't really talk about them too much. And there's a whole lot that happened on Thursday. And actually, like all around with regards to space weather and wait, what's that look for?
We'll get into it. Me and Ryan will talk, and we'll.
I was gonna say I could just like back out. Like I'm just gonna be sitting here drinking my Alani Cosmic Stardust. So yeah, I mean, like, have at it.
Yeah,
have fun.
Well, Ryan, you want to take it away? Where should we even begin? Because we've got a smorgasbord of things.
The Starship update was so. There's so much stuff that was revealed in it. Well, it's not the largest event there's ever been, but it was still a large event. Like, it's over an hour long. So I think the best route with this is just if people in the chat want to list like their favorite parts of it, then we can discuss that because there's no way we can get through the entire event in this show.
I felt like there wasn't really actually much happening at the update. I didn't feel like there was much at all that happened. Yeah, we got some new numbers, and we understood that there are some new engine configurations and other things like that.
Yeah.
But really, the only thing that I got out of it was that one, it's actually orbital refilling, not refueling. And also the what were the other 2 things that I was like, what? I didn't get my update on the life support system that I wanted to know about. It just like 2-3 years ago in 2019, it got hand waved. Magic. And then what was it? The other one, the abort system, which was basically we'll just fire the engines and hope the thrust to weight ratio's 1 or more. So yeah,
let's hope.
And I was just like, so yeah. So that was it for me. There was really, I mean, updated numbers are great, and it was cool to see Raptor 2, and you can definitely see that's a much more streamlined piece of equipment. But at the same time, it was like I don't want to say it could have been a tweet thread, but it really felt like 5 or 6 tweets, and you could have knocked it out. So
yeah. Well, bringing up what Andy Law said, Elon has always said refilling and not refueling. I was bored last night, I think, so I just started reading through the transcript from the 2017 IAC conference, and that's true. It says refilling, not refueling, which is something that I learned yesterday. But yeah, I think it's very interesting because I've always presumed the fuel as the mix of the oxidizer and the propellant, but the propellant is the actual fuel, not the oxygen, and there is more oxygen So it's like,
Yes.
but there's still propellant there. It's not just oxygen. So refueling. I don't know.
Well, typically the way that if I'm talking about rockets with people, I'll typically describe propellant as the combination of the two, and then the fuel is what burns, and the oxidizer assists in the burning of the fuel. Or enhances the burning of the fuel, if you will, or causes the burning of the fuel. So yeah, it's refilling and refueling. I can understand why he would say refilling. That probably sounds a lot better than reoxidizing, or whatever would possibly come out with that. But at the same time, it also does, as Johnny Spacer is saying, it's refilling, refueling, potato. That's, yeah.
I think they should be interchangeable terms, to be honest, because refueling is something that people will understand compared to refilling, and they're so similar. I don't really see a point in separating them, but I'm
with Elon on this one. Like, you're really not refueling the vehicle. You're putting liquid oxygen on board. You're not putting fuel on board.
Yeah.
You are putting some fuel on board, but ultimately you're putting oxygen on board.
Yeah. So you're actually reoxidizing.
You're reoxidizing. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. So I could do that.
Reox.
So yeah, we're reoxing Starship on orbit. So I'm sure that'll make people mad. I mean, if I keep saying that.
There can be a refuel process, but that is different than the reox process.
Yeah, it sounds good.
Yeah.
It sounds good. So, folks are mentioning chopsticks. Daniel Carlson mentioning chopsticks there.
Okay, I'll hit the button.
So,
Wait, okay, that
big,
makes
chopsticks.
Big chopsticks on that one there.
Sweet. They were used for the first time. That was so cool to see, honestly. Just seeing we didn't get to see Super Heavy being lifted with it, but seeing Starship being lifted with it was... I think we see Dada struggling. There we go.
Sorry.
Seeing Starship.
This is a good one too. I like this Johnny Spacers. Refueling.
Refueling.
That's a good one. That should be the official terminology.
After the turn and burn, it began the refueling.
That's right up there with nominal.
Oh yeah.
Someone needs to make one of like a Wikipedia list of all of the brilliant space terminology wrongness. It'll be brilliant. Anyway, chopsticks, Starship. Seeing Starship lifted up by the chopstick arms was just something very, very exciting to see, because it's done the load testing, but actually seeing a ship being lifted up like it will be before the launching of the first orbital flight, that's just so cool to see. It was almost like a kind of dress rehearsal for what it's actually going to look like when Starship flies, and that's going to be like one of the most exciting days ever. So the preparation for that is also very exciting.
Yeah, I was going to say in our chat room, OxyZapix0 said lifting and stacking Starship with the chopsticks happened so insanely fast, and like you said, I don't think that was a mistake or a rush to try to do it. I think that was definitely a can we do this, and what are the challenges for us to actually get it up there that fast. So yeah, that was pretty darn impressive with it. Windinhemo, I guess, hopefully, or Windihemo is asking in our chat room, Starship was seen docking side by side. The previous animations showed the bottom to bottom coupling. Any ideas why they changed it? Ryan, you got any ideas why they would have gone to maybe a side by side configuration instead of a aft to aft?
The only idea I would have is that you can see in the news there was a render from Eric X, and the 9 engines underneath the Starship is so it's just so tightly packed in there. So I think the only plausible reason to change it would be that the fact that there's more space to put the actual infrastructure you need to hook it together side by side like that instead of end to end. That's my only theory of why they'd move it.
Yeah, I would say probably the last thing you want to do in a very cramped engine area is to warp a nozzle on an engine or anything like that due to wrong movement or a collision, possibly with something like that. So it seems to me that the ability to dip out of a potential issue during docking is probably even better in this too. I would also imagine that there's not going to be any heat shield contacting like you could have with an aft-to-aft docking. So that might be it too, just to keep the heat
that's also
shield
a good
clear.
point.
So because it's going to be at the top of the vehicle and there's not a heat shield there, so it's just the stainless steel that is there. So
I couldn't find, Ryan, the image you mentioned, but I am dropping. We actually have a thumbnail that shows like the Raptor engines. These are the V1 engines, so this is one of the new thumbnails, and that should be there now. It's called Raptor Jabug.
Raptor Jabug. So
it's an image.
Yeah, that was pretty good. So
did I miss the moment?
I think you did miss the moment.
Did I miss that? There you go.
There you go.
Yeah. Woo!
Lots of Raptors.
Yeah,
That
lots
was a
of
few
to be honest,
Raptors.
lots
that's-
of. Yep.
To be frank, that is super heavy, not a Starship, but I'll let that one slide.
If
Yeah.
that's not rocket engine plumbing porn, I don't know what is.
All right,
Yeah.
hang on. You were talking about. I think I found the other one. I'm gonna need.
But V2, those are
It's
V1s,
called, I think
right?
it's called
Yeah, the-
9-engine Starship.
I don't see that in your folder, but that's fine. You got the moment is gone, and now I've made it worse.
Yeah. And yeah, that is the V1 or V1.5 Raptors, however you want to class it. And the V2 Raptors are so much more tightly packed. It's crazy
Yeah,
to see
they're-
how much they've managed to do on cutting that down.
Yeah, they were much more tidy. It was much more tidy looking than it was with the
Yeah.
first one. So the first one looked like an absolute
And they're
mess.
still going to cut it down more. I'm looking at that. I don't understand how they're going to cut that down more, but they are.
Apparently.
I don't know how.
Yeah. Okay, so people are putting in some really good.
You're popping your piece.
Sorry, some people. I'm just so excited.
Mm-hmm.
Folks are mentioning in the chat room that the changing of filling the booster through the QD arm on the side might be why you're getting docking on the side now instead of aft to aft with that. So that's looks pretty.
Yeah, having
I
one
call
port
that-
instead of two makes sense as well.
Yeah. The moon is square. Is saying, why is Elon still comparing rockets to airplanes? If a jumbo went 400 miles high and 27,500 miles an hour, you probably would need a new plane every trip. I think Elon compared rockets to airplanes in a business question, if I remember correctly, basically about the economic viability of that, like compared to aircraft, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I think that's a really good analogy. Like, it really
Yeah.
helps you understand why rocketry is so expensive, why aerospace is so expensive, and like what you need to do to fix it.
Yeah, well, the comparison was being made because Elon was talking about using Starship Super Heavy as a potential cargo system,
Yeah.
you can Elon was basically saying that you could fly, I think, what did he say? Something like 20, was it 10 or 20 trips in the same time it takes one aircraft to fly from, say, like Houston to Singapore. I think was the comparison with that there. So basically it was talking about the ability to deliver money, I guess is what you would call it. The cargo
The
itself.
ability to
So-
deliver money.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what it is. If you think about it, you're delivering cargo, so you're delivering money. That's how you're gonna make it work, right? So money makes the Raptor fly around. So
Is that the name of the show?
sure, why not?
Hey, money makes the Raptor fly around. Okay,
Yep, here we
got
go.
it. Yeah.
Start the votes now. So yeah, and as Andy Law is saying, that Elon has compared the reusability of rockets versus aircraft in every opportunity since 2016, at least.
It's a good analogy.
Because it is, yes.
It works really well.
I feel like for the question that had been specifically asked, which was more the economic feasibility of operating a rocket versus, say, an airplane, then that the analogy made even more sense to me, even though it was with it. So it was a good analogy, I feel, with that there.
Even though it was with it.
Yeah, like, brain kind of didn't catch up at the time.
Got it,
It was
yep.
moving faster than my mouth could. So yeah.
Just wanted to call you out on it, live on air.
No, it's good. It's good. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll just remember that. I'll put that in the back of my mind, and I'll remember to spring it at the right time whenever you make a mistake.
That's great.
Yeah.
Oh, I won't make a mistake.
Yeah, I'll just sit here for the next 45 minutes and enjoy my 4 or 5 opportunities.
You won't make that one again.
Touche. Well played.
You'll find new ways to screw up, I'm sure.
I mean, isn't that
Yep.
that's what every event is, right?
Yes.
It's just
Basically.
mitigating those things that yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, by the way, Dada, I did put that 9-engine image. Now that the moment is truly dead,
Yeah,
I
there you
figure
go.
let's
Hey, look,
make
a
sure
dead horse. Let's beat it.
I know. Let's make. But there you go. Like, here, talk more about the thing you already talked about.
Yeah. Look at that. Look at those. Look at the bells on those engines. Good Lord.
I see you were moving on. Can we come back?
That's going to be a thermodynamics nightmare in there. Holy moly.
There you go.
Yikes.
Well, this is only this is a fan render, so it's nothing official out of SpaceX. It's just an idea of what it
Seems
could
legit.
look like.
But it looks really cool.
Yeah.
Like, that's a really
It
good
does look
fan
cool.
render. Yeah.
Yeah.
It definitely does have an air of legitimacy to it.
Do we know who the
Yeah.
fan is so we can give them proper credit?
Eric X, ERCX on Twitter.
Thank
Right.
you,
There you go.
Mr. X. Or Sir X. Thank you, X.
X marks the spot.
yes.
X marks the render.
Juan asking, where are the fairings on Starship?
Big
doesn't have
door
them.
at the front.
Yeah, it's
It
kind of,
just have a big door at the front.
yeah,
It
it's
goes like this. Goes.
How's it go?
Does it come with the sound
Okay.
effect?
Yeah, it does.
Only if there's a pressure differential.
Oh yeah, it is, as many people are saying, big chompy mouth. So, and very interestingly, a lot of people in the chat room are very skeptical about point to point, which is amusing because everybody remembers. Hey Lisa. Everybody,
Lisa.
It's Lisa. So Apollo here for point to point Earth transport. Only way I can see that working is if the rocket's first stage and passenger, second stage had wings and landed in conventional airports. Aravel saying, I'm a little skeptical about point-to-point cargo. You still have to get all the cargo to and from the offshore platform. Seems easier just to fly it on a plane. You mean you can't have Starship landing in the middle of Los Angeles?
I'm just saying,
So-
if your dreams aren't hard, they're not ambitious enough.
That's
a
true.
Good, yeah, that is. Oh, hold up.
Yeah.
That might be the name of the show. If Your Dreams.
So you're telling me you can't land
Okay.
a Starship in the middle of Los Angeles? So
Well,
Is that what they're
physically
saying?
you can, but I feel like some local residents may disagree with that practice.
So Endeavour had a navigational error and they landed it in the middle of the LA River. But you're telling me they can't land a Starship here in Los Angeles? That's ridiculous.
Well,
No, what they're saying is
Endeavour
you can-
at that time was not under power. Endeavour was gliding.
Fair.
A Starship to land needs rocket power.
I'm just
so
saying. No, what they're saying is you can land Starship in the LA River.
Yes, and there's already water there to help dampen the acoustical energy. So
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, and then
Exactly.
you can stop it right at the 4th Street Bridge.
Yeah, I don't think you're right. And really, it's got the little flappy fins at the top and bottom, so you just flap them like wings, right, to kind of keep it
really hard.
really hard. Oh, this is the Core 2 Revenge of Starship.
There it is.
Yeah, right? This is the thing that needs to happen. I'm not adding value to this show at all.
And might I remind you, there are airports in the greater LA area that have operating hours because residents don't like the sound of airplanes.
Oh yeah, John Wayne Airport.
Yes.
Yeah, John Wayne, Santa Ana, whatever they're calling it nowadays. I don't know. But yeah, the people moved in by the airport and then got mad that the airport was there. So, that's basically what it was.
Is
Bunch of dumb
that
rich
going to happen with
people.
spaceports now?
What's
Is that going to be a 22nd century like spaceport issue?
I don't
Like,
know.
oh, I didn't realize the
Well,
rockets would be
if
loud.
if you're launching and landing rockets, you're not allowed to be within 3 miles of it, or is it 5 miles? I don't know, 5 miles, something like that. You can't get if you're going to go for a day trip down to the Kennedy Space Center when they're launching Falcon or Atlas or whatever. You can't stand near the rocket. You have to
Ryan,
be away, so you
Ryan,
can't.
Ryan.
Have you ever heard? Ryan, do you have any? Have you ever been present at a rocket launch?
Yes, but I was very small.
Okay. They are 3 miles. Does not. It's loud.
Yeah.
Like
You want to be more than a mile away so it doesn't liquefy your insides. Beyond that, 3 miles is about the point at which your eardrums won't break.
Yeah.
it's loud.
My-
Even
my
at 3
point
miles,
being
it's
is-
obnoxiously loud. It's
Yeah. I was going to
And
say,
there will
absurdly
be-
loud.
And this is
Some
like
sort of
magnitudes
buffer.
magnitudes larger than any rocket that's ever been.
Lisa has a great point, which is the sound doesn't magically stop at 3 miles.
No.
Oh,
it just
I know what the
delays.
issue is.
It just
Lisa, could you help? What is 3 miles in a kilometer? That
Yes.
might be the issue here. That might be what's going on.
Where I was trying to go with that is that nobody will build a house next to a spaceport because it'll be incredibly dangerous and incredibly loud.
Yeah, just ask the whole entire town of Lompoc. Vandenberg Spacewalk Base.
Or San Padre.
Yeah.
Or Titusville.
Rosemont.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are no examples that we can call from.
Yeah. I can't think of any
None.
whatsoever about things that are near rocket launch.
It's like
places.
It's like the people of Palmdale complaining about the sonic booms from Edwards.
Hold up. Klaus has an interesting concept, and I'm really curious. I've never thought about doing this before. What if you wore active noise-canceling headsets during a rocket launch?
I don't think
that's how that works.
Well, because it's full spectrum.
You'd need
Because it's
you'd
going
need to have
invert.
very, very good headphones. You need to have very, very good headphones.
No, the noise canceling. So the concept, the principle of noise canceling is to generate the inverse of whatever sound wave it's picking up. And so you have to be able to match not only the frequency, but the amplitude in order to prevent damage, to be able to cancel out anything that's on the outside from getting to your ears and like mushing your brain.
I wonder what it would do. Like you're not wrong. Like amplitude is a hard part, but like it's
amplitude
going to,
and frequency range.
Yeah, so frequency range also a hard part because a rocket launch is all of the frequencies.
It's a few.
It's effectively pink noise, right? Like that's what a rocket launch is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, pink is the one that kills everything. All speakers, right?
yes, although I was going to say Starship
It's the
launch might
noise.
be a brown noise.
It's the noise.
Once again, I'm adding no value to this show. I'm sorry, Internet.
It's the noise that brings on the mythical blue smoke.
I would be curious to try, I would like to try that sometime. At the same time, I don't want to try it because
What,
rocket launches.
Brown noise?
No, putting
Oh.
on noise canceling headphones and listening to a rocket launch. No. No, you're still gonna feel so. Shell and funk.
Shaolin.
You still need full body headphones to stop the acoustic energy. You know, that would be kind of the cool thing. Is to, let's just say that the headphones did a decent job of canceling out the sound. You would then be able to feel it, but not really hear it.
Once.
Yes, once.
Yeah.
Once.
You can feel it once.
All right.
Well, guess what I'll do? I'll put my AirPods on when I'm out at Vandenberg for the next launch and see what happens.
Actually, if you don't mind, I would like to know what happens.
Yeah, I'll let you know.
Yeah, that'd
So-
be great. All right. I sidetracked this long enough. There was more in the Starship update, right? Like we're not off of that yet. I just made us go way off course.
Launch
Also,
acoustical
I love that the
impact
acronym for that is like lit.
This position is not eligible for life insurance.
Oh my God, this is why you watch this show. You don't, yeah. This is if you want the serious stuff, watch Space News. If you want to just have fun with space nerd
boy.
stuff, this is you go.
Yep, that's where we're supposed to be. This is the
Oh
fun
yeah,
one.
thank you, Maddie. Off track is where we're supposed to be. This is the fun show, not the news show. If you're looking for the news show, he does those. They're amazing.
Uh-oh, we're apparently getting GIFs already being
Oh no, hang on.
from
Yeah,
people?
it's that.
so. Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, it's
That's your impression of Starship going
Thanks.
into the Ogo River.
very beautiful.
Thanks,
Beautiful.
Launchpad. Thanks, Launchpad.
Beautiful.
That's great.
So
That's great. Launchpad now has two. Like he's got one of me doing this, now one of me doing this.
there you go, Launchpad, just for you. Don't ever say Jamie doesn't give the people what they want.
Oh, and we've started this debate. that started.
Yep.
Leave your comments
GIF.
below.
Giraffe.
GIF.
Giraffe.
I really want a GIF of a turn and burn, so that way we could see The refill
All
dueling.
right.
On
Oh
its
my
way.
god. Also, Lisa says, I thought that was my impression of Lisa flapping her arms when she gets too excited. She does. She actually does flap her arms when
Yeah,
she gets excited.
I've seen it happen.
Oh yeah, she kind of bounces and flaps her arms.
Yeah, I've seen Lisa go in circles.
You
as
know
well,
what?
run in
Hang on.
circles.
Yes.
I am going to try this poll, and we'll try to get that going. So, and this poll is going to be ridiculous. I'm just warning you in advance.
Okay.
So,
All right. Let's.
yeah.
Why
keep
don't,
going. Keep going.
Yeah, me and Ryan are going to talk now. All right. Now that the adults are ready to go, Ryan, what were some other cool things that happened for Starship during the update? What was some stuff that you found fascinating?
I've got to think now.
I'll throw one out there.
Go on. Throw it
Okay,
out.
I just want to give props to Elon for doing a really very decent presentation. It was nice. So
Yeah,
got
it
that
was a nice
practice in. So
presentation.
he's been doing good. So good job,
Yeah.
dude. So
You ready for the poll yet?
are we stalling for time for the poll?
No.
Is that what this
Keep
is?
going.
Or? So
Okay. Back to the point on the whole land, Starship, and an airport thing, because spaceports don't exist yet. When planes were first invented, airports didn't exist. So,
that's true.
you know, the Wright brothers didn't turn up to Heathrow Airport to fly their plane. They went to Kitty Hawk, because airports didn't exist.
Yeah, and Kitty Hawk seemed to be a relatively safe place, right? There wasn't anything within miles, so just in case the Wright Flyer was super loud, you know, and generated a tremendous amount of energy when things went wrong. Yeah, actually, I like the way Lisa's phrasing this. It's just like, oh yeah, where the heck did people land planes back in the day?
Grass fields.
Yeah, grass fields, basically.
You know, because we have those in abundance in LA.
Yeah, and Carlos is actually bringing up a good one too, which is that flying boats were popular because of the lack of infrastructure on the ground. That's absolutely with it.
And we're kind of going back there, with Phobos and Deimos, the floating spaceports. You know, if you put all the infrastructure on a ship, you can put it anywhere in the world, and you don't need to worry about on-land infrastructure.
Yeah, you just
I
have
know
to.
it's still infrastructure, but it's less resident dependent.
Yeah,
to
you
put
just
it
have
that
to.
way.
All you have to worry about is cruise ships. That's it, right?
Yeah.
So just have to worry
Too
about
soon,
cruise
man.
ships.
Too soon,
With
man.
that there. What?
Too soon. got a flight on Sunday, man. Don't put that in my head.
Don't give them ideas.
Already did that once.
Nice. There was a point where there was a comparison made between rockets and early airplanes. I can't remember what it was, but I felt like it wasn't a correct comparison. Because first of all, rockets aren't early airplanes. But also, gosh, what was it? I can't remember what it was. So it's escaping me right now with that. So, but yeah, it just felt like it wasn't a correct comparison. And it was eating at me a little bit. So, yeah. Oh, yeah, at least Lisa's saying in before someone suggests Starship become an amphibious spaceship and launches Sea Dragon style. So
That would be awesome.
that would be sick.
That would be cool.
I'd pay good money to see that. So that would be
We
amazing.
need to be like on some sort of boat or ship.
Make it
No,
like
that's
make
the
it like a
point.
barge, so that you pull up to it next to a cruise terminal and board everybody, and then you voyage out to your launch location, turn vertical, and launch from the sea.
Actually, that solves the cargo problem too, right? You kerplunk back into the sea, boonk, and then just back to port.
Yeah. Yeah, not good for whales and dolphins with that. So
Wolphins.
Wolphins. So, and what about
This
oh my gosh,
switch,
wolphins.
switch to hydrolocks, and then you just make it water.
Oh,
Yeah, there you go.
Problem solved. Problem solved. Why aren't we working for this company? Anyways, who are these amateurs? Anything else, Ryan, that you can think of from the Starship update? For me, unfortunately, there just wasn't a lot, that I hadn't already heard.
Yeah.
This was definitely this update definitely felt more geared to someone who is I don't want to say like casual, but like this one felt more geared towards that first 10
This
minutes.
wasn't nitty gritty.
Yeah, it was more towards that first 10 minutes where it was trying to address the point of doing this. It was for those. It was
Yeah.
for those people.
Are these ever nitty gritty?
So-
I'm legitimately asking, and I don't remember because I'm like in my own mode. But
I think the
are
first
they?
one was.
Yeah, I want to say
the
that
IAC
IAC in 2016, that was pretty beefy
Was
in
it?
terms of the technicals. So
Yeah, it was a fresh concept with a lot of technical details to be able to convince the world that it was possible and doable.
Okay, I believe you. I don't remember.
I
was there, but like I wasn't there at the same time.
I liked that one because it was engineering heavy.
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah, it was, yeah.
But maybe
you know,
maybe we're the wrong audience for this then.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, maybe.
I think the most annoying part of the entire thing for me is that we had like 10 or something questions at the end, and they were good answers to the questions, but nobody asked about B4 and Ship 20, whether they're actually going to be the ones that go orbital. The question has been thrown around so much in the community over the past month or so, and nobody asked it.
And then they promptly disassembled them.
Yes.
And yeah, just why
They
did
didn't
no one
disassemble, but
ask
then
that?
those fell into the
destacked.
swamp.
Hang on, they destacked. That's a little different than disassembling. Also, Brad says, I enjoyed it because I'm still a relative noob,
Yes.
and I'm still learning a lot about Starship.
It is if you don't know much about Starship, it's a great presentation to get yourself up to speed with. So, but in terms of just like learning new stuff, there just was not a lot that if you knew a lot about Starship, it wasn't already. What's going on here?
I don't know, but apparently they're just making GIFs of
Yeah.
me.
Now
Thanks,
they're making.
Matthew.
Yeah, they're. So, anyways, there you go. There's some more material for your library of response GIFs. So, with that there.
Starlink.
Yeah, something happened.
Starlink. Oh yeah.
Oh, we have video.
Starlink.
Hold up, we have video.
Yeah, maybe
have
we
video.
should take a look at
Play
roll
the
that.
video.
Who grabbed this video?
VT.
Ryan, right? Because we don't have a credit on top of the video. So who do we credit the video?
Let me. Credits. Eddie Irizari.
And where do we?
/SAC.
Thanks, Eddie.
The organization was in Spanish and I couldn't read it.
Okay.
So
This is
SAC.
over
Eddie
Puerto Rico, I
Irizarry
believe.
/SAC. Yes.
Oh, this is a great weather happened.
Yes.
Weather did indeed happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is,
So what happened was SpaceX did the old launchy launch, and when they got Starlinks out, they're like, oh, this is nice. And then, as Dr. Tamitha Scope very, very, very goodly said in the little cameo she had in the SpaceX update, basically, the solar storm that was predicted was 2. So they launched, and then wham, solar storm number 2 showed up, and the atmosphere was heated to a degree that the density of the part of the atmosphere where the satellites orbit increased up to 50% of what has been witnessed on previous Starlink missions. And that basically meant, you know how Starlink has a big flappy solar array?
that's
It
actually its
kind of-
technical term internally. It's known as the big flappy solar array.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it basically, that was causing so much drag. They tried to fly an edge on. That still was causing too much drag. And because of that, the satellites couldn't leave their safe mode, and they couldn't raise their orbits. And because they launched in such a way that if they fail early on, they'll deorbit straight away, we got these lovely images out of Puerto Rico, and
They're beautiful in the
Starlink didn't
saddest
really-
possible way.
yeah, they didn't really. We got some lovely shooting Starlinks.
Oh, boo.
Oh, boo.
Although at the
and-
same time, I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they didn't. Apparently 9 survived, although I haven't seen data to prove that. But in the SpaceX at spacex.com/updates, they said 40 of 49 have deorbited or will deorbit soon. So I'm not sure what's happened to the other 9 so far. They may have survived, or they may have also deorbited at some point. I'm unsure.
Oh, Launchpad, this is a really great and sad number.
Yep. Quarter mil. Ouch. Ouch. That was a very expensive fireworks show with that there. Although that is amazing.
I'm so sad to see it, but like this
the
footage
wrong
is
reasons.
incredible.
Yeah.
Pew, pew, pew.
Wow.
Oh, God, Brad, you are on fire with these.
So furious.
Family stays together.
Man.
This is why we have space weather I've gotten
Who knew that a solar storm was coming? Who knew?
all of humanity. Like, maybe not at that exact moment in time, but like we've talked about this for years, and it's part of why space weather. Actually, Ryan, you even mentioned this. Space weather has been part of space news effectively since I think you said since the beginning of space news. I think we missed a couple of episodes. But
I know, but I couldn't be asked to put that in because it's the point. It's the point that counts. I wanted to get that across to evoke how important it is.
And you're not wrong. Like we've had space weather in nearly every space news episode since we started doing space news.
Yeah.
Because it is important. But first off, it's cool. But secondly, if we want to become a spacefaring civilization, if we want to be in cislunar space, wherever we want to be, space weather is going to be critically important. These were Starlink satellites. No one was on board.
Yes.
But now imagine this is a spacecraft sending humans to the lunar colony. Well, there isn't really the same level of protection around the moon as there is. Like I was going to say there's no magnetosphere around the moon, but I think there is a weak field somewhere.
There's
It's like not useful. So I was going to say none, but then someone was going to correct me. So I'm going to say a non-viable magnetosphere, although it's like none. It's none, right? Is it none or almost none?
I would say pretty much none.
Is it pretty much none or none?
I think it's non-zero, but not enough to be.
Okay, so so effectively none protection, that same protection we have here at the moon. And so like this space weather is going to be important if we are to be space nerds and we want to nerd out over humanity going like all the all the words all at the same time. If you're excited for Starship and excited for what that means, you should also be excited for space weather.
Yes. And you got to understand space weather and how the predictions work and other things with that. So it kind of seems like in this case,
because it can do good. It can do bad things to you too, right?
Yes.
Like and this is not the first nor last time space weather has impacted, both our constellations and technology here on Earth, or even humanity here on Earth. There's I forget when it was. I want to say 1800s, maybe probably early 1900s.
Yeah, the Carrington event.
Yeah,
in
when
the 1800s.
was that? 1800s. Yeah. You want to just go like you clearly know more about it than I do. So
as an astronomer, and indifferent to Starlink burning up in the atmosphere, the Carrington event was a very large solar storm that smacked into the Earth in the 19th century, in the 1800s. And it was potent. It fried telegraph lines all over the Earth, which basically you can imagine if it hit today, it would basically destroy a vast majority of the electronics.
Down.
Yeah.
Stupid.
Why can't I get on Twitter? And why can't I tweet about how I can't tweet? And the aurorae were visible all the way down to Cuba. So
holy crap.
Yeah. Wow. And
that would have been beautiful.
Oh yeah.
Because also the light at that time, like the literally the light that humanity could create is nowhere near where it is now.
No.
Yeah.
So those skies must have been epic.
Yeah, well,
and terrifying.
In London, people were able to read in the middle of the night because the aurorae were so bright. So that's how bright they were up in the high latitudes like that.
I know this is a terrible idea with modern technology, but part of me wants to see that.
Yeah. Oh, it would absolutely wreck everything.
Everything.
I mean,
my car would not start.
Yep. Electronics in cars literally would be fried. Stuff. These cameras, poof, gone. Our computers.
You can't watch us, but it'll be pretty in the sky.
It would be very pretty. Although I don't think anybody would get very good pictures of it unless you have a film camera. Then you could probably get some pretty good pictures of it.
That's also a good point.
Actually, Brad, I just brought it up on screen.
It might actually destroy your film.
How far away are we from being able to predict something like that? And I think we kind of can. It's just that we don't have a lot of notice.
Yeah. So the typical notice is like 2 to 3 days. So it might have behooved us to have Dr. Scove on tonight with us because she's obviously the expert amongst our circle about space weather and other things like that. So.
Maybe should we do an episode where we bring on Dr. Scove and just be like, hey, Tell us more about space
Tell
weather.
us your secrets.
Tell us your secrets.
Yeah.
Please tell us when and when not to launch. So
Well, but that was the thing, is that like we knew that this was happening, but it was, as I understand it, it was like the flipping. It was the like positive negative reaction that happened in the atmosphere that we didn't really predict, but that caused the issue.
I
Yes.
think it was predicted to be one storm, but then it was two. And then the second storm was going in the other direction of the first storm, and then that created a lot of friction, heat, density, dead star rings.
yeah, that's it.
That's
Toast. So that is how fast the sun will ruin your plans.
At light speed.
Literally.
Well, actually, yes. If you think about it, things like radiation from the sun will move at light speed. So your warning for hard radiation from the sun and other things like that is you don't have one.
7 minutes of terror.
Yes, but the atmospheric embiggening is not light speed.
No,
That takes a minute.
That does take time for that. So a couple days for the particles to travel from the sun to the earth.
So my point is, this is why we care about space weather. This is
Yes.
why we put it in space news.
Yes.
This is going to be something we have to pay attention to when we want to send humanity out there. And I'm hopeful that, getting in the habit of watching space weather now is like, it's not going to be that much longer before we have humanity in mass, more than just the space station, going out to, working in cislunar space or on the moon. And so we're going to have to start paying attention to this now. So like getting into this habit now and having these tools now, I think is a really great thing.
Yes. Yeah.
Getting used to like, oh, hey, what does the space weather look like?
Yeah.
How is that colony on, how's the Armstrong colony going to be?
Yeah, and this is why it's so important to have missions that are also studying heliophysics, the study of how the sun works and how it operates and other things like that. In case anybody was wondering, with us talking about the sun and everything, NASA actually did just give the go-ahead to two small heliophysics missions that are going to study the sun, and actually one of them is going to deploy 8 satellites and fly in formation and basically study the information that you could potentially use to predict something like that flipping that Dr. Scove was talking about.
That's pretty cool.
So yeah, and it just so happened that they came out with that this week with that. So
Smokescale has a comment that I fundamentally agree with, which is I want to see space weather normalized so that it's on even in the evening news.
Yeah.
Although I would argue that I think like evening news is not really a thing as much anymore. Like I can't remember the last time I watched evening news. I use Twitter and YouTube. I don't really use the Book of Faces.
I watch the news.
Do you really?
So.
Well, okay. Yeah. Well, then there you go.
I listen to the news. Like I'll listen to it on the radio for like 20 minutes.
This is NPR.
Yeah, something like that.
All right.
Yeah. Although our local one here in LA, so.
So, there are a lot of really great questions coming up. How much? Yeah,
let's go for
it. Own it, Dada. Like, if it's going up on screen, just own it at that point.
But it sounded like you were moving on from it.
Oh, no. I was going to it. Like, how much will storms like that impact Mars? Is it far enough out that to not have to worry about it as much? Well, again, a lot of this stuff is moving at the speed of light.
Nope. You still have to deal with it out at Mars.
You got to deal with it everywhere.
Yep, exactly.
So you have, the sun is phenomenal in its power.
Yes.
It controls everything, right? Like, it is responsible for
It's like
life.
the king of the planet.
It's like the king of the planets. That isn't Dr. Steve Brule. Which one is that one?
No, that's Harry Carey.
Oh, that's
or
right.
Will Ferrell doing Harry Carey
that's
from
right.
Saturday Night
That's
Live.
Right.
So.
The sun controls everything, right? And so the fact that it isn't a part of normal news is a little weird because it controls everything. So, yeah, Mars, lunar colonies, all of it will be impacted by the sun.
Yep, absolutely
all of it.
Yep. I mean, even now, you still have to deal with that. Even just in regular satellite operations, you have to deal with things like electrical charge moving across the surfaces and stuff like that. So this isn't even just like this just happened to Starlink just now kind of thing. There have been times where solar storms have just blasted through, and there were satellites that were in geosynchronous orbit, and because they were on the sun-facing side of the Earth, they're not really inside of the Earth's magnetosphere or magnetotail from the magnetosphere. Poof, there it goes. So yeah.
Technically, Okay.
There's a little bit. But they
we
got
get yelled
rocked.
at when we're like off by even a little bit if we overgeneralize, right? So
Yeah.
like, there's no magnetosphere on the moon. Well, technically, right? One of those.
Yeah.
But I mean,
well,
fundamentally,
actually.
I know. Fundamentally, my statement is right. But technically, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
Also, just in that same camp, Juno was made with a different material, not for solar weather, but because of the radiation
Yes.
charging on the outside that would have happened near Jupiter.
Yes.
So
Absolutely.
it was a really cool spacecraft because it wasn't the normal gold color. It was like this weird silver. It looked like it was wrapped in duct tape
Yeah. And
because it was wrapped in duct tape. I'm just kidding. Wouldn't that be amazing?
solves everything.
Duct tape together. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Send it to Jupiter. It'll be great.
It'll be good. It's fine. It doesn't. We don't need to worry about it. Just
27,000 mile per hour tape.
Yep, it's okay. The tape's good, and I don't
Hold
think
up. If I went to Home Depot and there was 27,000 mile per hour duct tape, you know that's the tape I'm buying.
All right, everybody.
Whether I need it or not, I want to buy the 27,000 mile per hour duct tape.
We're done taping it up. Did anybody check the valve on the engine? Yeah, we already did. Okay, we don't need to check that again. It's fine. So.
Too soon.
That was 6 years ago.
Too soon, man.
6 years ago.
Too soon. Oh my God, was it that
and
long ago?
It's ended up making the mission last longer than we expected. So, hey.
fun factoid, we actually got to see Juno. Carrie Ann and I, saw it on the ground before they were buttoning it up for flight when we were Space Vidcast, when we were down there for STS. I don't remember.
Some shuttle mission.
Some shuttle. So yeah, we actually had an opportunity to see it down there, and Jim Adams. This is before social media was a thing, right? Like it wasn't what it is today.
Yeah.
And so we were fighting to become press on the press site because there weren't tweet ups, there was none of that stuff, and KSC really wanted to keep us out, and so he worked at NASA HQ, and he was like, "No, you need to let these kids in." And so it was really cool. It was
And
like
look
our
at us
first,
now.
Yep. And then NASA was big and scary with our ITAR and stuff, and they tried to scare us away. And Jim was like, "You're fine." Yeah.
It's like, you don't intimidate me.
Yeah, kind of.
You fools.
You fools.
So, there was something I was going to say and I can't remember. Oh yeah, another thing about Juno as well, because it's in such a high radiation environment, they actually built all of the main components.
Don't you mean was in a high radiation environment?
No, it's still operating at Jupiter.
Oh, it didn't get
yeah.
sucked back into the.
No, I think that's when is that? The late 2020s they're going to do that with it.
Oh wow.
So it's still orbiting.
For some reason, I thought it was done. I thought it went kerplunk.
No, it's still going. Cassini is the one that most
thinking of-
recently did it in 2017. That's out at Saturn. Saturn, not really a radiation hazard or anything with that out there. So, but Jupiter, yes. Oh my gosh, Jupiter is just like a radiation monster. And they put the main electronics and the instrumentation inside of what they called the vault, which was a big thing of titanium that they were put in. So basically, the radiation doesn't penetrate the titanium.
As part of the conspiracy, it wasn't actually titanium.
Yeah.
It's made of unobtainium.
Ah, okay. I see how it works. Right.
They
So-
they don't want you to know that material exists.
yeah, where'd
It's
they get?
unobtainium now.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Where'd they find it at? The LA River?
How many Core references can we get into one show?
I don't know. You
Core,
tell me.
the best worst sci-fi movie of all time. Ryan, have you seen the Core?
I haven't seen the entire thing. I've seen clips though.
Okay, well, that's your homework, Ryan.
There you go. You got things to do. So, there you go. There you go.
I interrupted your Juno. Like,
Yeah,
the
thanks.
vault, titanium in
Thanks.
the vault.
Yeah, well, it's got a titanium vault to prevent radiation from frying it. So, yeah.
There you
Thanks.
go. Okay, cool.
Anyways,
Glad we covered that.
Thanks.
Star Watcher likes our set. Thank you very much. This is Planet Calf behind us.
Thank you.
And if you ever show up in person, you can. This is not a green screen. I can go on a spacewalk if you want to, but like this is a legitimate. I can throw things at that and it will bounce back. Oh, is there something I can throw? No, this will all. Like, I wonder if I can. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show, Star Watcher Stephen.
Oh my gosh.
By the way,
This is
Star
the kind
Watcher,
of
this
place
is
we
this is
are.
the casual fun space nerd show. This is not the space news show. For that, look for our space news segments.
Yeah, this
which are
is-
far more professional. Although Ryan, oh my God, you need to speak at 1/3 the rate. I know you're trying to. I know you want to get everything into one space news episode. Just cut it in half and release it as 2 episodes. Back to back. You can schedule releases. Like I was listening and I was like, I was just concentrating on everything he was saying. I'm like, oh my God, it's so many words.
Yeah, you've got to take notes.
So many words plus an accent.
Plus an accent. Well,
For
That's
us,
it.
it's
That's
our
a you
accent.
problem.
Well,
That's a you problem.
no, I mean we
I can understand a word you're saying. I don't even know what you just told me. Speak faster? Sure.
Speak. Sure. Oh God.
Challenge accepted.
Oxyabsco says Zoomers process audio faster. You can take.
I don't know if that's a fact or
I
not.
was
Dada-
taking a drink.
Oh
man.
my God! And Dada processes
Yeah.
button pressing
I
slower.
was about to say Gen Xers don't process
God.
button pushing.
I-
fast.
I'm getting old. Have you seen the number of buttons that are here?
No, go to the control room shot.
Yeah, show us.
Count them one by one.
Those
Count
are
them all.
those are levers.
Dada, start to count them
These
off,
are
please.
levers.
Those are levers.
These are levers.
Those are sliders.
Those are buttons.
Yeah.
Where's the flanges?
Hey, what does that button do?
Which one fires the Death Star?
This one.
He's not wrong. It was the.
It's this one right here.
I think it was actually.
Oh, they went up, didn't they?
I don't remember. For those who don't know, it really was a video switcher on the Death Star. It really was. It was a Grass Valley, and I keep thinking it's a Grass Valley 300 series, but it's something that predates the 300, and I don't remember what it is. But yeah.
If anyone here is going to know
30.
that.
Well, hang on, I can look
It
it,
would
up.
be- it would be
I looked
Vader
it up
here.
once. Yeah.
Well, why don't you do that? Why don't me and Ryan talk about Polaris here a little bit? So,
I forgot about that.
Go.
That's probably not very good, but I did forget about that. So yeah, let's talk about that.
You know, this is going to sound terrible. I actually forgot about it too. And then I was like, wait, what are you? Oh, yes. We should probably talk about that.
Yeah.
1 hour into our program.
yeah, Jared Isaacman's bought a couple more flights. Actually, 3 flights, if I remember correctly. Two more Dragons and
That'd be 6.
Yeah.
So it's just 3.
what?
Just 3. You
Yeah.
said a couple 3.
Yeah,
That's
a couple
2 times
3.
3.
So, well,
That's,
young man,
it's-
a couple 3 is
it's a
phrase that-
couple 3 divided by 2.
Okay, so
He has no concept of southern language.
no, yeah, it's all right. So, well,
yeah.
I mean, I don't either. It's just words I pick up on from people.
That's southern language.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, I mean, it's just I've said it quite often. So.
It was a Grass Valley 1600.
Thanks. Anyways, talking about Polaris.
Done from that one.
So we have 2 Dragon flights and 1 Starship flight, if I recall correctly.
Well, on the I don't want to be a bummer, but on the website it says up to 3 flights. Hopefully it's 3 flights, but it
Okay.
does say up to 3 flights.
Gotcha.
But everyone's saying it's 3 flights, so let's just say it's 3 flights, and they're going to be the first crew on Starship, which will be. I wouldn't put myself into
No.
that crew slot. I'd definitely be on number 2. But
does-
if you want to be number 1, then be number 1.
I don't know the answer to this, and I probably should, but where does Dear Moon fit into all of this?
I don't
Later.
know, Dear Moon. Well,
Because Dear Moon was announced on Starship before Polaris
I
wasn't it?
know, but it depends if the Polaris 3 mission, if the contract for that specifically says this will be the first crewed Starship mission. If it doesn't say that, then Dear Moon could be first. But Polaris have already said that it's going to be the first crewed one. So if they're saying that and they're confident in that, I would presume it's a contractual thing that they will be the first crewed Starship flight. But then again, on their website it does say up to 3 missions, so it's not very clear at the moment, to be honest.
Fair.
But I would presume Dear Moon would come after Polaris 3.
Yeah, I would imagine that they need a real big shakedown
Yeah.
of Starship before you launch the Dear Moon with that. So, So, yeah. What's this here? Launchpad saying the Polaris Starship might not go to the moon. Could be the first ever low Earth orbit where Dear Moon will be the first crew around the moon. Yeah, sounds about right.
Yeah, I believe that'll be what the case is.
That makes sense.
It'll just go to Leo, or maybe a bit higher than, I don't know, maybe kind of like Mio kind of levels, maybe, possibly, but I severely doubt it would go all the way out to the moon straight away.
Let's go to Geo, and we'll just like hang out over one part of the Earth.
Yeah, but you want to see it all.
Do you
pay for a space trip? You want to see a lot of the Earth.
Yeah,
you don't want to just see one part of the Earth.
That's true.
Like, you might as well just sit on Google Maps for an hour or whatever.
Yeah, but it would be cooler to see Google Maps for realsies.
I think I would want to Apollo 8 or land on the moon.
Yeah,
Apollo 8.
Yeah, you wouldn't want to actually step foot on the moon.
Maybe, but I think my.
Because, I mean, if you're stepping foot on the moon, you're also kind of, it's assumed you're orbiting as well, right?
I don't think you would have to, depending on what your orbit is.
You could do the direct ascent. You could do the direct ascent route, but then you're going to have, like you're going to have a ton of payload in order to do that, right?
I feel like you would orbit at least once the moon.
I remember for Apollo, they originally wanted to do direct ascent, basically just bang zoom to the moon and then land on the moon as on approach.
I don't know. I'm just assuming but Apollo orbited.
Yes.
The reason Apollo orbited was to do final checks before they separated their craft. If your craft doesn't need to separate to land, then you would not need that step. So theoretically, you could do direct.
But if you're doing a sightseeing tour, then you need the step, right?
Yeah.
So, you could still orbit the moon and step foot on the moon, right? Like, this isn't a technical thing. This is hey, I'm paying to go to the moon. Oh, by the way, you get an orbit around the moon, too. It's part of your ticket.
And
I won't get one free.
Apollo 8 didn't just, go around the backside of the moon. They got into orbit on the moon. So they did several laps around the moon before they came back.
So they went to the moon, badunk-a-dunk. Yes. Did that a couple times.
Yeah.
Then they came back.
Went around the moon dang
on Christmas,
moon.
Right? That was the Christmas mission.
Dang moon, you thick.
Dang. Someone called me that on Twitter the other day when they saw the picture of me. They're like, "Yeah, but now you're thick." I'm like, "I'm working on it. I'm sorry."
But also high orbits apparently on those Dragon flights. Going to be kicking it up a little bit. So
yeah, that's they go. I'm trying to think of the best way to just spit this all out. So they went kind of high with Inspiration 4, but they want to go even higher.
Kind of high?
I think 3 times higher.
Yeah, kind of high? Wait a second.
Wait, hold up. Hey, I want to know.
Inspiration 4
what do you define as high?
Inspiration 4 went they went the highest anyone has gone in the 21st century. On Polaris,
or kind of high.
Or kind of high. Polaris want to beat the Gemini record that was set by going 1,500 kilometers in altitude or something ridiculous like that.
Yeah.
The only thing I don't understand is they're going to be, and I quote, kind of, using the maximum performance Dragon and Falcon has. Falcon's maximum performance is fully expendable, but Jared said they're not fully expending it. So, I haven't looked in really detailedly at the numbers, but I can't understand how they're going to do that. I just can't get it.
Yeah, but you're saying that Inspiration 4's orbit wasn't high.
No, it was kind of high.
It was kind of high.
And then the next orbit is fairly high.
It was
Polaris goes. So we start with kind of
Inspiration. Compared to Inspiration 4, this is going to be pretty high. Inspiration 4 was still high.
Ryan, can we get your standard?
Extra high.
Extra high. Okay. So that's
extra high.
We were pretty high before. Now we're going to extra high. When you go to the moon, what is that? What is that? Is that?
It's like a
super duper high.
Voyager's kind of far away.
Yeah, it's a little.
Voyager's ultra high.
Ultra high.
See, to me, anything that flies higher than the International Space Station, that's a pretty up there orbit, in my opinion, just because of how little we've actually flown above that altitude as humans. You know, most of the time, either the people that are flying higher than that are they've been they've gone to the moon, or they've flown those Gemini missions, or they've gone to Hubble. With shuttle, which Hubble put shuttle right at the limit of its capabilities. There, in some of those missions, the margins were so razor thin that the chances of failure were 1 in single digits.
Thank goodness they didn't have an STS-93 event on the way uphill. That would not have worked.
Yeah, I remember, what was it, for STS-61, which was the first repair mission, they put the chance of a catastrophic issue occurring at 1 in 3 for that. In case anybody wants to know what the statistic was.
Whoa.
I know that because Story Musgrave told that point blank to me. So when I got to meet him and spend a wild evening
so
with him.
technically it was 1 in 1 total success. So
it was
technically.
Yeah, technically.
After it was accomplished.
That fact is wrong.
After it was accomplished.
Yes.
After it was accomplished, but it's already been accomplished. So if you look at it that way, it is 1 in 1 total mission success.
Yeah. Yeah, that's wild.
Ryan, we need Klaus. Dud already flashed this up on the screen, but I do want to reiterate. Klaus thinks we need a chart. We need to know what your levels of height are. So if Inspiration 4 was like kind of high, we need to know like what altitudes are like kind of, sort of, pretty high, very high. Like we need to map that out so we can use that chart in future episodes. We need to know how enhyonated each one of those things is. Also, I love this community, the fact that you're using made-up words. This is fantastic.
They're just impregnating their vocabulary.
Also, there was an interesting point, which is when there's a celestial body, here, Joe said it, you stop nesting height when another celestial body gets in between, right? So so technically speaking, if you landed on the moon, you would actually be low, right? Because you're on the so you would so landing on the moon is less high than Polaris. I need a chart. Ryan, I need a chart.
Stop.
You're less in altitude on the moon, but you're more in altitude relative to the Earth.
We need a chart, Ryan.
Well, there is a point.
Wait, Ryan, how do you like your steak?
Medium rare.
Oh, an aristocrat.
What?
Medium? Not kind of rare.
All right. We're done with this.
And then the first private spacewalk as well. Apparently that's set to occur.
Wrongly, I think I'm more excited about the new spacesuit than the actual spacewalk itself, because we've seen people spacewalk before, but seeing like actual I say not trained, they are trained, but not astronauts,
citizen astronauts
doing a spacewalk.
Astronauts.
Non-professional, not their career astronauts doing a spacewalk. I think that that will be something that people will look at and be like, I'm not a professional astronaut. That could be me.
You said it was sort of. It was sort of high, right? So then there are these sort of astronauts. same scale.
How dare you denigrate their accomplishments?
No, like
they're not real astronauts. No, they only did 7 months of training. They're not real.
They are too. They are. They are too. They crossed the Kármán line. The difference is that this isn't what they do for a living. So they're citizen astronauts because this is not their day job, as opposed to NASA astronauts, where it is their day job, or professional astronauts. Exactly. But I would argue they're absolutely astronauts.
Yes.
Right? Like,
they're not sitting there watching a screen and then floating around for 6 minutes. They're actually doing something of significance.
This is an interesting point. Arvale says Jared Isaacman will soon have more flight experience than many NASA astronauts.
That's true.
That is a true statement.
He's going to become the first person and only person for a while who has flown on Dragon twice, more than once.
And then he might become the first person to fly on it 3 times.
He might. That
Or 4 times.
that is a possibility, depending how far out Polaris is. Polaris 2 is to Polaris 1.
Yeah, and actually, this is another really good point, which is from Shaolin Funk. Amateurs can be more proficient than professionals. Professional just means you do it for a job.
Yeah, but nobody wants to be called an amateur astronaut.
I mean, or wear it with pride. I don't know.
Right?
I mean, you're not wrong.
And in this year's Pro-Am astronaut.
Oh, man. Also, Brad remains on fire once, twice, 3 times an astronaut. That's pretty good.
Oh man, that's great. So
The biggest difference is that Jared isn't being paid to fly the spaceship; he's paying to fly the spaceship.
Gentleman astronaut.
gotcha. So sorry, it's really confusing hearing people say Jared.
Sorry.
Jared's flying the spaceship. I'm like, what am I doing? So,
Wait, unrelated. Daniel's asking when is tomorrow's 8th birthday. We're in orbit 15, so 7 years ago. Now, if you right?
Yes.
It's been a hot minute. I mean, I'm counting Space Vidcast to be fair, but like, yeah. All right, sorry, I derailed us again. That's just my thing I'm doing.
sorry, we were just talking about what makes someone an astronaut.
Do we have more on Polaris, or are we wrapping up here?
I think that's all we have on Polaris.
So far, yeah, we don't have a lot. It's just like when Inspiration 4 was initially unveiled. We don't have a lot, but we do know what the core parts of the mission will be.
I actually like this comment from Johnny Spacer, which is Jared Isaacman has a freaking MiG-29, has a private Air Force commanded a Dragon spacecraft, and never went to college.
Yep.
Yeah, don't.
So kids, don't go to school,
No.
and then you'll have
That's not what that means.
cool Air Force.
Just buy a
and
bunch
you'll be
of
able to fly
MiGs.
planes, and then you'll fly cool spaceships around. So don't go to school and fly spaceships.
I think that the moral of the story is not don't go to school. The moral of the story is like figure out what works for you and find that pathway and be really good. Everyone is good at something. They're phenomenal at something. Find that and go with it.
Yep. So some of us are really great.
The views of Ryan do not represent those of tomorrow. God.
Drop out, fly spaceships.
Sorry, it's just funny hearing that.
Tweets are his own.
Yeah. My opinions are mine alone, and better than yours.
Oh man! All right. On that note, should we wrap this thing up?
Yeah.
Like Ryan is getting tired. You can see him falling asleep. It's the wind.
He's got the wind knocked out of him.
Mm-hmm. He's in it. For those who don't know, what was the maximum wind gust where you're at, Ryan?
Well, not where I am, but in the country, the maximum wind gust was like 120 miles an hour, and it was like where I am, it was like a constant wind speed of about 45 miles an hour.
That's nothing to sneeze at. That's a lot of.
That's a lot of wind.
A lot of wind. That's
A lot of wind.
Pretty Hempkin Wimby out there.
All right. On that note, I'd like to thank everyone so much for watching and for being members of the show. The membership is a way that you can help us financially to continue to do this week after week, month after month. Now, if the live show is not your jam, and I totally understand, and you prefer the news, the membership helps our news program as well.
Yep.
Make
Get your name in that as well.
You get your name in all of the things. These are Escape Velocity. I subscribe to our own channel, my own channel, which is why I'm at the end of the list. But I wanted to make sure that the experience, I needed to really truly understand the experience, which is why I did that. One other thing for Escape Velocity members, one other change I've started doing is in the description of the video, we've also added your name there. So if you look at the description for this video, you're
named in 2 places.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you get your name literally in the show, and you get your name in the description of the video. So
you are now enabling the search for this video with your name.
Oh God. For better or worse, you're getting your name in the description. We also have our orbital subscribers or members, and these are people. Every one of these levels is a different contribution. You can pick a level that makes the most sense to you. We also have suborbital. And the list you can tell which one costs the most because the list gets longer and longer as we and then of course our ground support subscribers and ground support, this is like $5 a month, which I want to say was like 1 coffee in Britain. Is that what you determined? Oh no, that was system support was like 2 coffees or no less than 1. I don't remember.
It depends It depends where you want to buy your coffee, to be honest. I think if you go to like a Costa or a Starbucks, other coffee retail chains are available. It might be like, I don't know, maybe like ground support is like 1.2, 1.3 coffees.
Yeah, so like just give up one coffee and you're good on ground support. But if you don't want to do that, if you don't want to do that, there's also system support. Now, system support, you don't get your name in the show, but that is $1 a month. And if every single person who subscribed to our YouTube channel was a system support member, we'd be set.
We'd be rich.
Yeah. We would not be rich, Ryan. But we'd be able to do a lot more with the show. So,
Yes.
yeah, we appreciate it. And if I can't afford it, like Daniel McCool says, once I get a job, we'll be throwing money at you guys. Yeah, we really appreciate it. But like, there are people who just simply can't afford it. Totally understand. I totally get that.
Yeah.
There are still ways you can help the show. Simply like and subscribe. It's that it doesn't cost you anything other than like 2 mouse clicks. Those subscriber counts help us with the algorithm. And
Thanks, Carlos.
Thank you for upgrading your membership, Carlos. All of that helps us a great deal. It takes money to keep the lights on, to pay for bandwidth, to pay for studio space, to build a space station set. And then, we had to fly the space station. Like, we needed it to be realistic, so we flew it to space, and then we had to develop anti-gravity technology.
Yeah,
all of this costs money. It's the maintenance on the artificial gravity plating.
Man, do you know how many MiG-29s we had to trade to get this?
It's high upfront costs. So, exactly. I hope you all
think how expensive the laser connectivity between Earth and Station 204 is to get this 200 millisecond latency video signal, high definition, between me and your eyes viewing this, and then to get it back to YouTube servers on Earth. That's quite a lot of technology.
The Launchpad also upgraded their membership. Thank you very much for making all of that happen. This is these shows are a passion project of mine. They're a labor of love. We'll produce them no matter what. Again, we're in Orbit 15. We've been doing this for 15 years. I think we are the longest standing space show on the internet.
Bam.
I'm pretty sure.
The internet.
The internet. I'm near positive. I don't know that to actually be true, but I can't think of anyone that has been around longer. So
I can't think either.
Just in general, or
yeah, no thoughts headed.
No thoughts. We're constantly upgrading and changing and building the community.
Thanks,
and doing
Robert.
Cool new things. So, would love to have you be a part of that and help us build the best, most awesome, most fun community in space. On that note, if you are not a subscriber, this will end the show for you. For everyone who is system support or greater, if you go to YouTube and you click on the membership area, you'll actually see a special members version of this video. You got 30 minutes before the show, actually a little bit more. I think it was 40 minutes this week.
Yeah.
But then we also go into post show. I have no idea what we're going to talk about. But
our last post show was a riot.
Well,
let me tell you.
Oh my God, we were laughing so hard. There were some.
You missed it if you didn't. If you're not a member, you totally missed our last post show.
We did determine that the best orbiter was Endeavour, was it, or Discovery?
Columbia.
Columbia.
It was Columbia.
It was Columbia. We determined that the best orbiter is Columbia, and we did this through a long, drawn-out, and hilarious process.
Yep.
Thank you very much, Bryce, for also upgrading your member.
Or becoming a member.
Excuse me.
Thank you.
Launchpad wants more polls. I'll try to work. We did do the GIF poll in the. I'll try to work more stuff in. I'm rambling. I'm so sorry. So thank you, everyone, so much for watching. If you are a member, if you just became a member, or if you are a member, watch us over there. We'll continue the conversation there. See you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
All right, now we should be just in